Hey, book friends, it's Caitlin and Tishka here, who has decided to grace us with his presence. And we're going to be talking about a brand new space thriller called Innerspace by Jakub Szamalek. And I'm going to be kind of comparing it to Project Hail Mary, which I just realized has almost 1 million reviews on Goodreads. This is crazy. I know a lot of people, including myself, are excited about the new movie with Ryan Gosling coming out next year. And so if you're looking for something similar to read and maybe you've heard of this book or you really want similar vibes to Project Hail Mary, I'm going to be kind of dissecting this book and letting you choose whether or not you think that would give you kind of the same vibes. So let's talk about it a little bit. I do have to say, I read Project Hail Mary maybe 2 years ago. So I'm just left with my feelings about this book and what I liked about it, which was, wow, I was so happy that I actually could enjoy science fiction. It's not like I hate this genre, but it's kind of rare that I get really wrapped up in like a sci-fi story. And I think that I'm not the only one that feels that way. I think this book has gotten a lot of people back into reading. And I just loved that it was just such a wild adventure, massive book, almost 500 pages, but it just like every chapter ended on this like cliffhanger. And I was just so like enthralled in the story. And I just loved like the high stakes that all of Earth being able to like continue on, all of this was resting on our protagonist, Ryland Grace, and it just made it such an exciting book to read. I thought that the writing was a little bit dry, I do have to say, but the plot was just so good that it kept me going. Even though it was sci-fi, even though it was massive, and I loved the ending. So that's kind of like in a very small nutshell how I remember my experience of reading Project Hail Mary a few years ago. So let me talk about Innerspace a little bit. I've been seeing people be like, oh, it kind of sounds like Project Hail Mary, or like, oh, I heard that this is another like high stakes space thriller. And there's also an ammonia leak in space. And so people are like, oh, is it copied? So I'm here to tell you just how different this book is. It is very different. I still liked it, but not nearly as much as Project Hail Mary. Innerspace is a lot more of like a political game of chess. So it's 2021 and the Americans are about to go into space to the International Space Station and they're going to work with the Russians. And this is supposed to be the last mission. Let me just also say that Innerspace is like very much grounded in reality. And so it's true that the International Space Station, the ISS, is set to close definitively in 2030, I believe. And so in this book, this is supposed to be like the last mission in space. And there is like some drama between the Americans and the Russians because the Russians are about to lose all of their like funding from NASA. And so there's some drama. And when they get into space, it's like everything that can go wrong is going wrong. There is an ammonia leak that no one can find the source to. People are like throwing up everywhere. On the Russian side, like the lettuce and snails that they're growing in there are dying. Like everything is going wrong, and the book shows us like very slowly like what is going on here. They're trying to get to the bottom of it, and we're following Lucy, who is the American like captain of the American side of the space station, and she's trying to like figure it out. So let's talk about a little bit more. I think one of the main differences between these two books is that Project Hail Mary feels much more like a fun, adventurous like fiction, and in Inner Space you feel more like you're reading a kind of like slow burn spy thriller, and you're slowly like peeling the layers back of like all the different characters, the different astronauts. You have a lot of bureaucracy, and you're just like really trying to figure out, like you're trying to get to the bottom of this mystery. And there is some like exciting things that happen, but like strangely I just it didn't really rile me up. Like I was just not really crazy about this story. So if you're going to read this, just like be prepared to really read a political spy thriller type of book rather than a big fun adventure story. Let's see. I do also have to applaud Innerspace. This is a translated book. It was translated from Polish, and you cannot even feel it. And I'm really sensitive to this. Like, I hate when translated books like feel super clunky in English. So I have to say that they did a fantastic job at that. And it is kind of cool that like this book stars a woman, Lucy, and you really kind of get to see what it's like to be like a female astronaut. You know, she's a mom, and you really see like how much astronauts struggle. And like, wow, I would never want to be an astronaut after reading this book. Like all the things that they have to go through, and like how it like rips apart their personal lives. Like it just sounds really awful. And I didn't really get that feeling from Project Hail Mary. So that's kind of my short comparison of these two books. I would love to know, are you planning on reading Inner Space, or like after hearing this review, would you want to read it? Let me know. And I'm so excited to see the movie Project Hail Mary next year. I like really can't wait. All right, you guys, Tishka and I will see you next time. Bye.